Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. It's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
Oh, it's that day.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Who's ready?
Stir Punch Thursday, bitch.
The old left hook to the throat.
Man, sometimes, man, it just got to be like that. You know what I mean?
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Got to
Right.
do what you got to do.
I asked
Some
you to
folks
be quiet.
deserve it.
Ask you to be quiet once. That's all you get.
Good stuff. Good stuff. How's the weather and all those fun things out there in Florida?
Oh, it's cold here today. It's like 70 degrees out.
Yeah, that the 70 degrees is well for this part of California around this time is pretty moderate weather, but it's been in the 50s. It's been raining off and on, which it's funny in Sacramento. It always waits until after Halloween, then it starts raining. Then the weather starts heading south.
Nice, nice. Well, that's so you can have the mudslides to wash away all the all the fall debris. You know.
Well, see, first we have to have the wildfires.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. You've got them going on there now, right now. Yeah.
Right. Well, we just got through the wildfires. You know, they got the lightning strikes and all that fun stuff, and you know, campers and terrorists and all that. You know, eco terrorists and all that other stuff. Then
Right.
we you know, get rid of all the trees that are holding the mud down. Then we have the rain
Right.
and the mudslides.
That's right. Yeah, I'm throwing a few earthquakes every now and then.
Oh,
Round it
loosen
out.
up, loosen up the ground, loosen up the ground.
That's right. Loosen it up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, these trees here. Come get these trees. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There you go, there you go. Although once again, I still would rather deal with that than gator nados.
Hey, listen, gators are like they're swamp puppies. That's all. They were just a swamp puppy.
Swamp
That's all.
puppies.
Swamp puppies. Yeah.
I've never heard that term before. Swamp puppies.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Swamp puppies. Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. You get points for that one, sir. You get points for that one.
I didn't make that one up. That one's been around a while. That one's been around a while. Can't take
Okay.
credit for it.
Well, it's new to me, so it's new to the show. So we'll give you credit on
Gotcha.
the show for it.
All right, there we go. There we go.
All right, folks, we're gonna go ahead and get into today's program. But before we do, we're gonna give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
It's the day we're gonna give a quick shout out to our sponsors. It's definitely not the day where I'm actually gonna remember to not put that video on again.
Yeah, that's like a perfect record so far this week. Every day we've done that. Yeah, so it works out.
Anyway,
Hey, let's say hello to our good friends at Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. You want an AR barrel in pistol or rifle caliber, any length you desire, get on over to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in the tactical concealed holsters, get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWG holsters.com. Hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get a nice little discount. And if you're looking for field gear, outdoor gear, hunting gear, paintball gear, whatever it may be, you get everything except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
that's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do them a favor. Do us a favor. Do yourself a favor. Visit their websites. All you got to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them. Make sure you tell them it was the guys over at the Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, for those of you who do not know, this program is live. That's right. We do this live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So we enjoy having your comments. We enjoy hearing what you have to say. If we find it interesting enough, we'll go ahead and we'll share your comments with the audience. Just go ahead and write your comments there at X. They're at, well, X formerly known as Twitter, at Rumble, at YouTube, at Facebook. Go ahead and leave your comments. And once again, I'll be looking for them. And if I find them to be interesting, we don't have to agree with them. Just they have to be interesting. But if they're not interesting, we will mock you. But go ahead and leave them, and we'll share them with the audience if we find them to be interesting. So go ahead, let us know what you got to say. Make your voices heard.
Was
Was that? Okay. Let us go ahead and get into today's news stories. We're going to start with Chicago Mayor Brian Johnson. Well, he had some words to say, in particular about about Donald Trump and about what Donald Trump has to do with the potential of Donald Trump and what his impact is going to be on black people when his new term starts. All right, let's check it out.
So you got to hear this. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson blasting President-elect Trump as a threat to his city. Watch.
The president-elect, former President Trump, his threat is not just towards new arrivals and undocumented families. His threats are also against black families. We're going to stand up, we're going to protect undocumented individuals. We're going to protect black folks, brown folks, Asian folks. The city of Chicago will be better, stronger, and safer despite who's in the White House.
This as Chicago is set to hold a special session tomorrow on the mayor's $300 million tax hike that many fear will fund the city's migrants. Illinois Senate candidate, former Chicago gangster and founder of Ex-Cons for Community and Social Change, Tyrone Muhammad, joins us right now. Tyrone, thanks so much for joining the program. So I've been on the ground in Chicago a lot. And when I talk to black folks, and as well as brown folks on the ground, they don't want the migrants there. They're taking over their resources in the community. You got the gangs right now in Chicago going toe-to-toe with the migrant gangs. What are you hearing?
Lawrence, thanks for having me. Look, if he really cared about black families, the day the mayor thought about giving resources to non-citizens, illegals, before he gave it to black communities that have been suffering for decades, then he would be more true to his word about black families.
So, once again, I find this funny. So you have ex-cons for Trump. I guess he's been convicted, but he doesn't necessarily qualify as an ex-con yet. But I'm wondering if Donald Trump would actually qualify to wear one of those shirts.
what? Say that one more time.
Do you see the guy wearing the ex-cons for?
Yes.
I was wondering, do you think he would qualify to wear that shirt?
No, he has not been. He's been convicted but not sentenced, right? Is
There
that
you
what's
go.
going on?
So he hasn't actually served time. So okay, no worries. But once again, what I find is interesting is now every single time that liberals are not able to get something done, every single time they have a failed policy, they're going to blame Trump for why their policies aren't working.
Everything. Listen, this guy is an idiot, right? We knew that the day he got elected. They outdid the last idiot with this idiot, and now he's trying to say that President Trump is against black folks. And then did I catch him right? Did he say he was going to try and deport black people? Is that what he said? I mean, that's what an idiot this mayor is. This is just like you said, Craig. Well, we got failed policies. I'll point the finger at Trump. The man's not even in office. We still got 70 days to go or whatever it is. He's not even in office yet, and they're blaming him for it.
Well, exactly. And by the way, they're stoking a bunch of fear, and they're using that fear to try and push policies. We talked just yesterday about the fact that you got Gavin Newsom trying to get $100 million so that he can pump money into lawyers, basically a bunch of whom are his friends, in order to pay for legal fees, in order to sue the federal government and Donald Trump over stuff he hasn't even done yet. Here they're looking at a $300 million tax for the city of Chicago itself in order to pay for benefits. And here's the thing he's not telling them. What he's not telling them is that they're going to take that money and they're going to use it to fund his slush fund programs. It ain't going to help black people, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. But it's Chicago, Craig. It's the city of political crime. That's where everybody goes to jail when you think about politicians. So maybe this guy will get to go with them.
Maybe he will. He should. I just did not think that they could outdo themselves when it came to Mayor Beetlejuice, but they did. And I just did not think that they could do any worse, and Lord help them, they did. Now, here's the other thing that I found interesting about his comments. He's trying to say that Donald Trump is a threat to black folks, but I would say him and his government are a much greater threat to the black community there in Chicago, as he is still refusing to actually enforce the law. And I'm sure we're seeing another record-setting year for murders there in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. And Greg, he doesn't care about, listen, anyone there. It doesn't matter if it's white, brown, black, migrant, Asian, pick American, Islander, whatever you want to put else in there. He doesn't care about anybody. The only thing he cares about is, as you said it, his money and his slush fund.
Yeah, that does seem to be the only thing that is in particular on his mind. Okay, let's see here. We're going to move on to our next story. And let's see here. Bam. Okay. So here we have the left's mass exodus from X. I don't know if you've been following this, Mike, but apparently folks have decided that they are going to just get off of X, formerly known as Twitter. This is a piece that's out there from this is a piece that's out there on NBC News. It says X sees largest user exodus since Elon Musk took over. It says on the day after the election, November 6th, X experienced its largest user exodus since Elon Musk bought the platform in 2022. And now users are flooding to alternative text-based social media apps like Blue Sky and Instagram's Threads. Those numbers appear to be climbing as users and brands like The Guardian and Don Lemon continue to announce their departures from the platform. NBC News spoke to 6 people who have joined or committed to using Threads or Blue Sky in place of X after the election because of Musk. Each of them cited the growing issues on X, including bots, partisan advertisements, and harassment, which they all felt reached a tipping point when Donald Trump was elected president last week, and with Musk's support. Musk has since joined Trump on calls and in meetings to weigh in on his transition, on his presidential transition. Now, Mike, what I find interesting about this is, first of all, I've had people who have just literally lost their minds. They're like, I can't believe all the nasty things that people are posting at me on Facebook or on Twitter. I would have never done this. I'm like, no. Did you go back and look at the stuff that you posted? Did you go back and look at you called us Nazis. You said that we are out of touch with the American voter. You said that we were promoting racism. You said that we were fascists. All we're doing is saying, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, anyway, I guess the problem is that what they can't handle is all the reality that does come their way.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Craig, got one thing to say to all of them, all of them that are leaving.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Goodbye. You sore losers. You just whiny little people is all you are. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Go. I do like how the news was very specific to cite out that there's been a mass exodus, and they talked to 6 people that were leaving. 6 people. They have confirmation from 6 people that they're leaving. I don't think I've seen an exodus like since 7 people left.
You do know, Mike, that is a major issue right there, right? Like, just like 6 people leaving the platform is way more than I'm sure they can handle.
Yeah, that's no way they'll survive. Yeah. I think
there is no way that it will wind up surviving. Yeah. I am just, for the life of me, once again trying to figure out, and I'll just say that it's still beyond me to figure out exactly what's going on here. How can people be so... I mean, How can people be so completely and utterly disconnected from reality and yet and still I'm like, you're so disconnected from reality. You have no idea how disconnected you are.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, don't rack your brain trying to think about it, Craig, because you know what? No one cares. No one cares. Let
Well,
them go do their thing.
I hear you,
They
man,
could be
but
citizens. We'll ignore them and go around them. Don't care. Don't care.
some of these are people who I've dealt with in other areas, and literally before this, mostly before Donald Trump, but even the ones who were okay, but the post election have just lost their shit, and I'm like, you need to see a therapist. And when I say a therapist, you need to go see a real therapist. Don't go to one of those liberal therapists, because they're the ones that are telling you to isolate and don't go around people who disagree with you. I mean, you have therapists out there literally telling people, yeah, if you have someone in your life, if they don't vote for your rights, well, then the ultimate in self-care is to just remove yourself from them. And I'm like, these people, based on the fact that they've listened to what they've listened to already, they're wide open to just continue to be gaslit.
Yeah, and again, they're all in on it. You know, let them have it. You know, and they're too ignorant to look at the truth. They're too ignorant to see the truth. So, you know what? We don't need them. Don't need them in our society. Let them go hold themselves up in their homes for 4 years and shave their heads or whatever they're going to do. You know, bye. See you later.
I count some of them as friends, so that's why it's so concerning to me. I just let them know that, look, you're not allowed to lose your shit around me. You're just not. If you decide you want to go off on a rant, you need to go over there, go to your safe space, and go find yourself a rage room or something, but leave me out of it.
You have to respect their rights to have a mental illness, Craig. Let them go do it and let them go be by themselves.
There you go. That's what I do. I respect their right to go and be dumbasses on their own.
That's it. There you go. Problem solved.
Problem solved. You know, there are some folks, though, who Mike, are losing their minds, and they haven't really lost their minds. I think they're just waking up to reality, and they are begging the world to help them because they're hoping that everyone else can, talk Donald Trump off the ledge. One of the example has to do with Iran, who basically hijacked a climate alarmist summit in order to demand sanctions reliefs. Here it says Iranian Vice President Shina Ansari used the COP29 climate summit in Baku, Azerbaijan, on Wednesday as a platform to demand sanctions relief for the terrorism-supporting regime in Tehran. Quote, "We hope that the international community, free from political issues, will stand together, exchange knowledge, transfer technology, and facilitate accessing financial resources without discrimination, and fully lift unilateral sanctions against countries, particularly Islamic Republic of Iran," Ansari said on Wednesday. However, we cannot forget the fact that the current climate situation of the world is the result of industrial policies of a few developed countries, and developing states shall not be deprived of their right to develop because of what others have done, Ansari continued. Here we go. Ansari is head of the Iran's Department of Environment, in addition to being vice president. She was appointed to the vice presidency on August 22nd, 2024 by President Mossad, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, ostensibly a moderate reformer who scored a surprise victory in the July special election to replace the late Ibrahim Raisi. Now, Mike, what's interesting about this is the reason why they're making these pleas now is because they know that once Donald Trump gets in office, the sanctions, the quote unquote unilateral sanctions that have not been enforced by the United States, will once again be enforced.
Yeah, absolutely. And say this with me, Craig. Azerbaijan. There you go, Azerbaijan. Okay. And it's listen, unless you've been there, I get it. It's one of them places you don't know. But over there on the Caspian Sea, we don't say it all the time. It's fun to say though. Azerbaijan just rolls off the tongue. Yeah, they're absolutely pooping their pants, right? Or their man dresses, whatever they're wearing. But they're about to have sanctions laid upon them again, or enforced upon them again, that they haven't seen in 4 years. And Craig, I mean, we're talking big giant poop in the pants, because this is not going to be just Donald Trump, right? This will be 4 years of him, and then what we get after that, right? Because you got a single term president, perhaps his vice president, perhaps somebody else. You're looking at 12 years of this for them. This is the kind of thing that's going to kill them. This is going to I would say bomb them back to the Stone Age, but they're already there. This is the kind of thing that's going to end them.
Well, and it's important for y'all to realize during the Biden administration, between Obama before him, who sent pallets of cash to Iran, and then you had the oil sanctions released by the Biden administration, which allowed hundreds of millions of dollars, if not, I'm sorry, hundreds of billions of dollars of oil to be sold by Iran so that they could fund terrorism around the world. Because that money's not going to their people. Their people aren't getting that money. That's going to the handful of wealthy people, the mullahs and all of them, and then it's being used to fund terrorism. That money is going to dry up. It's going to dry up because Donald Trump is going to make sure that it dries up, just like it did the first time he was president.
Remember, Biden's policy and Obama's policy was, let's send them big piles of cash, and the deal we'll make is you don't attack us, you don't bomb us, and you leave your allies alone. Leave our allies alone. But Iran said, okay, we just won't bomb you, but we're still going to mess with your allies, and that's what they've done, and they've been getting away with it. Trump's policy is now, no more cash. If you breathe across the border, we will end you.
End you. Not postpone you, but end you.
End you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's called peace through strength, folks. That is, and I was so happy when I finally, because a lot of people didn't realize that was Trump's foreign policy during the first term. This time he has specifically said it. It's peace through strength. And if you look at the foreign policy team that he has put together, if you look at the people from those who are enforcing our borders, all the way to those who are going to and negotiating and engaging in diplomacy with other countries, all the way to our defense secretary, it is literally F around and find out. That is our new foreign policy.
Yeah, I mean, look at Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, right? Known communist hunter, or just a hater. I'm sorry, hater. And
no, you had it right. Hunt him down.
Yeah. Well, that'll be DOD's. That'll be DOD's response.
That'll be a DOD. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's going to be. I'm not going to say that we're going to be loved on the world stage, but we will be respected, and those who do not respect us will fear us. And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Show some disrespect. I dare you.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we've got the office of the new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is going to be putting together recommendations to basically cut about $2 trillion out of the government spending. And one of the major targets I think they're going to have is going to be the Department of Education. In particular, it seems to be the one that the left is most scared of and keeps talking about. Well, what happens if the Department of Education goes away? There's not going to be any quality of education. Well, here's a piece that was done over at NPR, and I just wanted to pull a small segment out of this to give you an idea of what is what was going to happen should the Department of Education go away. And this is NPR's Steve Inskeep asked the Brookings Institute's John Vallant about President-elect Donald Trump's campaign promise to close the Department of Education. Let's just read the first part here. It says, closing the Department of Education. So what would that mean? To understand that, we have to get our brains around what the department does. You can guess from the title that the Department of Education has something to do with education, but state and local governments operate public schools and universities. Your neighborhood school would still exist without the DOD, without the DOE. What the federal department has done since 1979 is oversee everything from college student loans to aid for public school special education. From the beginning, Republicans have called for its elimination, and John Valiant says this effort comes at a time of skepticism about public education since the pandemic. Valiant studies inequities in schools from his perch at the Brookings Institution, a Washington think tank, and he says the Department of Education does a lot to make education more equal. Now, what does that mean, Mike? Education more equal? It basically means that they take resources from states and they redirect that money to other states. And I'll give you an example. Here in California, a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you lose the Department of Education, well, in California, about 7%, I sit on a school board, about 7% of my school district's budget comes from the federal government. And I'm like, if we were to totally see that money go away, I'll put it this way. If they took the regulations away along with the money, it would be net, it would be a gain for our school district.
Yeah, now, Craig, what kind of regulations are you talking about? You're not talking about regulations that keep the kids from learning or make them unsafe.
No, but like as is noted in the introduction to the piece, those decisions are actually made at the local level, at the state and local level. None of those decisions are made at the federal level.
Right. Yeah, this is, again, like you said, just like the Doge is going to be doing. This is something that it was created in '79. It was right under Carter, and it's been out there for years, just spending taxpayer money. It was a bureaucracy that was created, and again, that's a Republican thing. That's a conservative thing. Less government, and this government is this portion of the government is wasting money. They're doing this already at the school level, at the state level. Why do we need it? You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe we need a little section still left over for taking care of, administering, federal grants and those kind of things, but not what we're doing right now.
Well, no, exactly. In fact, one of the things that they note, one of the things that Valiant notes in the piece is he talks about how, or in the interview, he talks about how, yeah, they're going to be cutting regulations. And a lot of these are regulations that the left believes in, like, for example, Title IX. Now, not that the right doesn't believe in funding female sports or giving them the opportunity to participate in sports, but what they don't want to do is they don't want to do like Biden did and include in Title IX the mandate that boys get to participate in girls' sports. What they also don't want to do is they don't want to see the ending of men's sports just because women don't want to participate. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it's affected Florida, but one of the things that's really hurt California, it's hurt Title IX has hurt small college football programs because the way in which Title IX is being implemented now, it used to be you had to make sure you had equal funding so that if girls want to participate, you were funding as many girls slots as you were boys slots, right? Well, they made it so that you actually have to have the same number of participants. So a lot of small college programs, they couldn't get enough. I mean, think about it. You have a football team. That's 50 to 60 participants. They couldn't find enough girls to participate in girls' sports to make up the difference. So what did they do?
Right.
They cut their football program. And not only did it hurt their football program oftentimes was a cash cow that paid for other programs. So other programs, Chico State, where I went to school, I played football for Chico State. We were not a football powerhouse. We were Division II, non-scholarship. We got our butts whooped all the time. Every once in a while, we did okay.
Like the Cowboys.
But our football games helped fund other sports like
That's right.
wrestling, where we were national championships. We were in the national championship every year for wrestling. Well, guess what? We couldn't afford to keep the wrestling program because we didn't have football to pay for it anymore. So bye-bye, along went our wrestling program. Now,
That's the way it works.
we don't want
Football
that.
puts seats in the stands. It puts butts in the seats in the stands. And you know who goes to see wrestling? And I did wrestling. You know who does wrestling? Who watches wrestling?
Wrestlers.
Yeah, other wrestlers. Other wrestlers are made in the family. That's it. Yeah.
And that's the problem is, and once again, the idea is we want to make sure that women or girls who have a desire to participate in sports have a chance. And I'm all for that. I'm all for making sure that happens. But the problem is, as what happens with many government regulations, if you got to develop equity, well, equity usually doesn't mean lifting one side up so that they're equal. It usually means tearing the other side down so that everyone has the lowest common denominator.
That's right. Exactly right.
So I, for one, am not worried about the Department of Education going away. In fact, the quality of education and national tests has gotten worse every single year since the Department of Education has come into existence. I would rather see the multi-billion-dollar budget that goes to the Department of Education. I would rather just see, you know what? You don't even have to reduce the budget that amount. Just send the money straight to the states. Or let them keep it. How about that? Let the states keep the money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And they'll probably do something like that up front. They're not going to be able to cut it off all on day one. They're going to have to wean them off of it and let them realize that, like you said, it'll be a net, when by the time the money's not there anymore.
I would appreciate doing the idea of doing, funding studies. And when I say funding studies, I mean objective studies that look at teaching methods, what works, what doesn't, creating a standardized test, not so much that there's a punitive or anything like, but just so that people can have an idea how their students measure against students at other states, stuff like that. But a lot of the mandatory stuff, a lot of the mandates that they put on school districts need to go away.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it's the guy to do it.
And exactly. And I'll tell you something. My experience has always been, and I will continue to say this, the decisions that are best for students are the decisions that are made closest to the students. That's the reason why not just private schools works, it's why charter schools work, because the decisions are being made close right there where the parents can hold the school and the decision makers accountable.
That's right.
Anyway. All right, folks. Well, that then brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, this first one is going to be a video, and it is an example of just how, how they say the key to Marxism, and this is something that Karl Marx talked about. It's in Rules for Radicals. Is one of the things you do is you accuse the other side of what you are. And so whether it's gaslighting or whether it's being hateful, that's what they do. And this is an example of someone who put together a little, he did a little experiment online. And let's see what the results of that experiment were.
I made two separate videos before the election. One of the videos said I was going to vote for Kamala Harris. The other video said I was going to vote for Donald Trump. And I just wanted to see the mixed reactions from people and how people would react, because I do a lot of work from my hometown, do a lot of work from my community. I work with young boys. And I never said who I was voting for. But I made those two videos because I wanted to show people how they are in reality. I made the Donald Trump video and I made the Kamala Harris video. Under the Kamala Harris video, you definitely had some Trump supporters like, well, we understand that you may have a different opinion or whatever, but we still support what you do. Maybe you'll wake up one day, et cetera, things like that. It wasn't nothing vile, wasn't no bad comments or nothing. I made the Donald Trump video. I got people that unfollowed me. I got people saying they can't support nothing I do no more. I got folk calling me all types of names, et cetera. But what's crazy is all of the Kamala Harris supporters have become what they accuse Trump supporters of being. When you say you support Donald Trump, y'all be ready to kill him. Y'all ready to burn him at the stake. You calling them all types of names. You unfollowing them. You don't care what they're doing for their community. Nothing. If you support Trump, F you, I hate you so much, et cetera. But all the people under the post, all the Trump supporters, when I said I was going to vote for Kamala, it was all love anyway. They was like, well, we still support what you're doing. We still going to donate. We still love the work, even though you don't have to support Donald Trump, et cetera. So I've only received hate from the people that call themselves the tolerant side, the side that's supposed to be about love, the side that's not about hate. But it's crazy because anytime somebody doesn't agree with you, all you spew is hate. All you give is hate. So it's funny how everybody who call themselves Democrats, you have turned into what you accuse the Republicans of being.
And that's been my personal experience. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
just his experience. It is amazing how hateful the left. Let's clarify. They have become people who normally aren't hateful have become hateful, but many on the left have always been hateful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Randall King, by the way. Or you can find him as the new emerging king. He's a inspiration leader for young men.
Exactly. And once again, he put a video out on both sides. And what's funny is he didn't say who he really voted for. All he said was he did a video for both, and he explained what happened with both. Kind of interesting. Now, we talked a lot before the election about making sure that if this election was, you got to make if it's close they can cheat, right? We had to make it so big, we had to make the victory so big that they couldn't cheat. Well, it looks like Wisconsin, they made sure it was too big to rig.